fundraising all of the time. And independents have only 36 days to do it. So what a disadvantage that is. And it's no wonder that more people don't run as independent members of parliament, because there's no point even being there. So I agree with you, and try to start the process along to make some of these changes. Good question. Sir, my conservative.
Well, actually, Garth, thank you, and I don't need a mic. I think I can speak for myself here.
Okay.
I do have a question regarding the funding of some of the flyers that you sent out. Here, a bunch of franked mail that you sent out. Steve Janke at Angry in the Great White North has taken some issue with this on the internet. And actually, I'm here by way of personal invitation by you on the internet. So, and I am not a member of the Conservative Party. I'm here as an individual citizen. I speak for myself. Okay? How is it that you used the budgets, or apparently you shared the budgets of 15 other Liberal MPs to send out this mail at frank cost, which is, what you people don't know, is probably about 100 to 1 the flyers cost to promote your tour. Now, are you willing to come forward at this time and name the 15 other Liberal MPs that helped you in this endeavor, or are we just paying for this? Taxpayers. Your floor, sir.
Yeah, okay, great. No problem. All members of Parliament have the ability to send out what are called 10%ers. So, like every week or twice a week or whatever, you can send out a 1.5 a page, 8.5 by 11 mimeograph piece of paper to 10% of the people in your body. So that all MPs do it. And what is quite a common practice is that members of Parliament will, if they figure they don't quite need that in their riding for whatever reason or whatever period of time, they will sort of take that budget that's already allowed under the House of Commons and they'll use it to send mail into other ridings for other purposes. In my home, in Ontario, I get one every week from Mr. Baird or Mr. Harper in my mail. So they do this like every week, constantly. So to publicize my trip in Western Canada, because we didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money doing it, we wanted to do it within existing budgets. I asked, or actually a coordinating body asked some other MPs if they had 10%ers that they weren't using, if we could use to send them to households in parts of the country where I'd be going. And they said, great, we'll do that. So that's how that mail went out. I didn't mail it. It didn't come from my office. It wasn't paid for by the party. It was part of the existing House of Commons budget. The taxpayer paid no additional, like not 1 cent more than was already allocated in budgets. It was done by the House of Commons. The House of Commons printed it. The House of Commons mailed it. The House of Commons put it in envelopes. The House of Commons put labels on the outside. So they're the ones that administer the rules. And if you've got a problem with that, then you've got a problem with all MPs, because we do it quite often and all parties do it. Then, by all means, I'll give you the address for the House of Commons. If you want the rules changed, that's the appropriate place to go.
Can I have a follow-up question, Mr.
And by the way, the 15 MPs, I have no idea who they are.
You have no idea who they were. Yet, on CKNW, 2 days ago, the follow-up from Abbotsford on the Bill Good show, you, and I quote, you said, you asked the 15 MPs to share their budgets with you. And this is a matter of record, sir, on audio tape and an audio file. There seems to be some contradiction in what you have said on your blog on a number of occasions and what you have said publicly. And I would really like you to clarify that.
In terms of asking MPs, actually all the Liberal MPs were asked. If you will, help me out, because I'm going to Western Canada.
Okay.
And instead of spending a bunch of money on newspaper ads, can we use existing budgets? And I don't know.
So you don't know which particular 50 MPs shared their budget, and I also must take
But
one issue with,
can I
you
ask-
talked about 10
can I just ask you a
percenters.
question?
Please let me speak, and then I'll listen to you. You talked about 10 percenters, Garth, but what you sent out weren't 10 percenters. They were frank mail. They were delivered in envelopes with your flyer, which is a 10 percenter, delivered in a flyer or in a enveloped mail to particular people's homes, not to the occupant, to the homeowner, okay, by their name, okay? That's called frank mail, Garth, and you know that. And that costs considerably more, okay? Or do you deny that they were sent out that way?
No, I don't, but that's also a form that the House of Commons uses for 10 percenters. I mean, we do it all the time. I get stuff sent to my household from the Prime Minister. It's addressed to me all the time. The Turner household, 263 Golden Crescent.
Yeah.
It's there all the time. And then in it, I have a message from Mr. Baird, or a message from Mr. Harper, or a message from Mr. Prentice. I mean, I don't think there's a scandal here. You can make one up if you want.
Well, I'm here for clarification, sir. I don't think it's a scandal.
If you want to talk more about 10%, I know that all of you kind of I explain it to you, but I think that these people probably have more important.
Well, that's fine. I'm done with that. Thank you, guys.
Since the gentleman raised the question of spreading what are the fees, the cost of advertising, I've been reading in the newspaper lately about the conservative practice during the last election, how they spent over $1 million over the budget that they should have been allowed by using national spots as local spots on television. Do you have something to say about that?
Actually, I was asked when I was still a member of the Conservative caucus to go and give a speech to a riding association, and a Conservative riding association. They were having an annual general meeting, and I went and gave a speech. And during the Treasurer's report, just before the speech, the Treasurer stood up. This was just after the last election, and he said, "I'm happy to report that the Conservative Party gave us $40,000, but we couldn't give them a check back for $40,000 the same day. But because they gave us the $40,000, we now get to claim 60% of that as our riding expense. So that riding got $24,000 of taxpayer money for having cashed a check and written a check in a 4-hour period of time. I think that a bit pales with some 10 percenters."
Thanks for coming out, Mr. Turner. Since the leadership of Dion there, I know there's been a lot of questions raised about his leadership ability and style. And I've been a long-standing Liberal, but and many of my friends and associates are, and we all share a common concern that he just doesn't have what it takes to ever be Prime Minister. And I'm wondering if the vote could be delayed until the spring. Could a leadership convention be handled and a new leader obtained? And I say that with all due respect. When would the leadership thing be held? The brand name seems good, but there's real questions as to, and I know everybody says we're starting to like him and this and that, but that's not what I'm hearing. So if I could get an answer on when there could be another leadership convention, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I think Mr. Dion has expected to be some kind of messiah coming out of the gate, who's Mr. Perfection. And he's not. He's like the rest of us. He's a guy who went from, being a dark horse and all of this to being the leader. He's been making big strides, I'll tell you, in terms of sort of his English language ability and his ability to present. We've been working hard on policy and all of that. So it's coming along. It really is. And I do think we will be ready. If there were an election called following this throne speech, and I think there's a fairly middling chance that that's actually going to happen, that I think we will absolutely be ready. I really do. Sir? Why don't you use the mic so we can hear you?
Sure. I had some of the same concerns myself, but recently read a book called Against the Current, which is out there. And all the bookstores, and I think, I don't know if you've read it or not, but I would strongly